Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program. Today, we dive into some gripping stories making headlines. First up, the Hong Kong government has taken a tough stance by cancelling the passports of 6 overseas-based activists, including Nathan Law, under the national security law. This move is part of an ongoing crackdown on dissidents who have moved abroad. The government has also imposed strict restrictions on providing any form of support to these individuals, with severe penalties for non-compliance. Next, we turn our attention to the stock market, where Hong Kong stocks have taken a nosedive, falling below the 18,000 mark for the first time in 2 months. This drop comes in response to China's latest inflation data, which signals weak domestic demand and has investors worried about the economic outlook. Finally, a concerning rise in suicides among young Hong Kongers has sparked calls for more action. The suicide rate for those aged 15 to 24 has nearly doubled since 2014, with academic pressure, social unrest, and the COVID-19 pandemic being major contributing factors. Efforts are being made to engage with young people and provide better mental health support to address this alarming trend. Please stay tuned for detailed coverage of these stories and more. Reuters Breaking Views highlights the narrowing premium of onshore Chinese stocks to their offshore equivalents. This shift is driven by a push from China's top market regulator, Wu Qing, who is advocating for higher dividend payouts, and by Chinese investors' hunt for better yields. The Hang Seng Stock Connect China Premium Index, which measures the enthusiasm gap between mainland and Hong Kong stocks, has decreased significantly. This change is partly due to the expansion of the Stock Connect investment scheme, aiming to bolster Hong Kong's status as a global financial center. Despite some state-owned enterprises still trading at significant discounts in Hong Kong, the push for higher dividends could lead to more southbound buying from mainland investors, potentially narrowing the gap further. The Toronto Star reports that the Hong Kong government has cancelled the passports of 6 overseas-based activists, including Nathan Law, under the new national security law. These activists, accused of endangering national security, have reportedly absconded to the UK. The government has also imposed severe restrictions on anyone providing support to these individuals, with penalties of up to 7 years in prison. This action is part of a broader crackdown under the national security law enacted in March, which follows a similar law imposed by Beijing in 2020. This law has led to the arrest, silencing, or exile of many activists and has prompted over 144,400 Hong Kong residents to move to the UK under a special visa program. The South China Morning Post details a significant drop in Hong Kong stocks, with the Hang Seng Index falling below the 18,000 mark for the first time in 2 months due to weak domestic demand indicated by China's inflation data. The Hang Seng Tech Index and the Shanghai Composite Index also saw declines. Consumer prices rose only 0.3% year-on-year in May, below expectations, while producer prices fell for the 20th consecutive month. Economists suggest that a more proactive policy stance is needed to boost domestic demand. Concerns over elevated interest rates affecting home purchases have also weakened Hong Kong property developers. Meanwhile, the U.S. Federal Reserve's upcoming rate-setting meeting adds to the market's uncertainty, with expectations that the central bank will maintain its current borrowing costs. South China Morning Post, economist Stephen Roach's assertion that Hong Kong is over has reignited debates about the city's future, but such pessimism overlooks China's robust economic trajectory. Despite Western scholars like Larry Summers lowering expectations for China, the nation's economic growth remains formidable. By measures like purchasing power parity, PPP, China is already the world's largest economy. The pandemic has complicated global dynamics, intensifying U.S.-China competition and leading to negative rhetoric about China in the U.S. Nevertheless, Hong Kong's fate is closely tied to mainland China's development. As China aims to become a financial powerhouse, Hong Kong's role as a global financial center is poised to strengthen. Recent measures by the China Securities Regulatory Commission to enhance cooperation with Hong Kong's capital markets underscore this. Additionally, the Greater Bay Area Development Zone, including Hong Kong, is emerging as a major hub for technological innovation, complementing its financial status. By 2035, China aims to be a developed economy with significant GDP growth, further solidifying Hong Kong's global financial standing. South China Morning Post. In an unprecedented move under Hong Kong's new national security law, the government has cancelled the passports of wanted activist Nathan Law Koon Chung and 5 other absconders. These activists, currently based in Britain, have been accused by the city's authorities of engaging in activities that endanger national security and colluding with external forces. The government spokesperson stated that these measures aim to deliver a strong blow to those who blatantly smear and slander the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. This action marks a significant escalation in the city's efforts to clamp down on dissent and maintain national security, reflecting the broader geopolitical tensions between China and Western nations. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong is grappling with a disturbing rise in suicides among its youth, prompting urgent calls for more action. Suicide is now the 4th leading cause of death among young people aged 15 to 29, with the teenage suicide rate among the highest in the developed world. Stories of resilient teens who overcame suicidal crises highlight the unmet needs and emotional turmoil faced by many. For instance, 16-year-old Chan Chun endured family violence and academic pressure, leading him to contemplate suicide. Frontline workers and recovered teens emphasize the need for better engagement and support for at-risk youth. The Hong Kong Jockey Club Center for Suicide Research and Prevention recorded a significant increase in suicide attempts among young people, doubling from previous years. Experts attribute this surge to post-pandemic struggles and a lack of mental health support. Initiatives like anonymous online counseling and school-based support projects are crucial, but more comprehensive efforts are needed to address the root causes and provide timely help. Advocacy groups and NGOs call for a compassionate approach, urging the government to listen to young people's voices and create a supportive environment for mental health. Guardian. Since Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, the West has imposed a plethora of sanctions on Russia, making it the most heavily sanctioned country globally. These sanctions have targeted various sectors, including personal finances and major industries, leading to the withdrawal of brands like Apple and McDonald's from the Russian market. However, Russia's economy has shown unexpected resilience, projected to grow faster than many advanced economies, though experts warn this is unsustainable long-term. The U.S. plans to announce new sanctions and export controls at the G7 in Italy, aiming to increase costs for Russia's war efforts. Despite these sanctions, Russia has managed to sustain its economy through secretive routes, importing goods via countries like China, Turkey, and the UAE. For instance, German exports of vehicles and parts to Russia have skyrocketed by 5,100% since 2019. Critical military technology, including microchips from U.S. firms, is often rerouted through Hong Kong or China. Observers like Robin Brooks from the Brookings Institution highlight the EU's role in inadvertently enabling these imports. Efforts to curb such activities include the U.S. pressuring banks and companies in intermediary countries to halt the re-export of dual-use goods. Yet, countries like the UAE resist Western pressure, redirecting trade flows rather than stopping them. Additionally, Russia relies on a dark fleet of old tankers, often sold by Greek shipping magnates, to continue its lucrative oil trade despite sanctions. As G7 leaders convene, the challenge remains to effectively support Ukraine and tighten sanctions to impact Russia more significantly. South China Morning Post. Filipino cuisine, with its vibrant and contrasting flavors, is gaining international recognition. Known for its sour notes from vinegars and fruits like calamansi and tamarind, and its unique combination of sweet and salty elements, Filipino food is becoming popular as global diners seek new culinary adventures. Cheryl Tiu, a Filipino journalist, notes the increasing pride among Filipinos in showcasing their cuisine. Celebrity chef J.P. Anglo highlights the bold representation of Filipino food by chefs like Erica Paredes in Paris and Ross Magnay in Australia. For establishments exemplify this culinary movement, Kasama in Chicago, the first Filipino restaurant to earn a Michelin star, offers a 13-course tasting menu with imaginative twists on traditional dishes. Kuya Filipino Eatery in Dubai, founded by J.P. Anglo, brings Pinoy-style hospitality and well-executed classics to the Middle East. Kapihan in London, run by the Motley siblings, introduces Filipino coffee and pastries to a crowded cafe scene, with standout items like the bibingka cake. Bahay in Dublin, a food truck started by Richie Castillo during the pandemic, offers inventive dishes that blend Filipino flavors with local ingredients. These establishments not only push the boundaries of Filipino cuisine but also educate and broaden the horizons of diners worldwide. Foreign policy. China is grappling with a massive surplus of unsold housing inventory, amounting to 3.6 billion square feet or roughly 5.5 million homes. To address this, a state plan is emerging to convert these properties into affordable housing, potentially increasing the percentage of affordable housing from 5% to 30%. However, past affordable housing projects in China have been marred by corruption and inefficiency. The hukou system, which ties residents' benefits to their city-specific residence permits, complicates the situation further. Migrant workers, who lack urban hukou, are the most vulnerable. Reforming the hukou system and expanding affordable housing face resistance from the urban upper middle class, whose wealth is tied to property values. Local governments, financially strained due to a drop in revenue from land sales, are also reluctant to bear the cost of such expansive projects. Meanwhile, a stabbing attack on U.S. college instructors in Jilin and the resignation of British judges in Hong Kong highlight ongoing social and political tensions in China. Additionally, the U.S. CHIPS and Science Act has spurred significant investment in semiconductor manufacturing, while sanctions officials focus on closing loopholes that allow China to access advanced U.S. semiconductors. Amid these developments, China's annual Dragon Boat Festival serves as a cultural touchstone, reflecting the country's rich history and traditions. Australian Broadcasting Corporation. In Hobart, the real estate landscape is poised for significant transformation over the next decade, with a push towards higher density living. Currently, only 15% of dwellings are units, starkly lower compared to other major cities like Sydney and Melbourne. Experts, including Hobart real estate agent Nick Cowley, argue that adopting apartment living could be crucial for the city's prosperity. Urban strategist Stephen Burgess highlights the economic advantages of medium-density housing, emphasizing that it can reduce infrastructure costs and attract young professionals. However, developers face challenges, including community opposition and labor constraints, which hinder the progress of such projects. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's national football team secured a point in their final FIFA World Cup qualifier against Turkmenistan, following a grueling 19-hour journey to Ashgabat. The match ended in a scoreless draw, allowing Hong Kong to avoid finishing at the bottom of Group E due to a marginally better goal difference. Interim head coach Wolfgang Lewisser, who stepped in after Jorn Anderson's resignation, stayed true to his promise of an aggressive approach. Despite the challenges, including an inadequate training pitch, Hong Kong's disciplined defense earned them their first clean sheet in 11 competitive fixtures. The performance, coupled with the introduction of promising young players, showcased the team's potential and resilience. South China Morning Post. Guangdong officials have committed to enhancing connectivity and strategic industries within the Greater Bay Area, noting a new normal of increased northbound travel by Hong Kong residents. Zhang Hu, a key provincial official, highlighted the region's economic growth and the deepening cooperation with Hong Kong and Macau. The Greater Bay Area aims to become a high-tech economic powerhouse by 2035, focusing on industries like 5G technology, integrated circuits, and biomedicine. Efforts to improve connectivity include recognizing professional qualifications across the region, with thousands of professionals from Hong Kong and Macau already certified. Additionally, educational exchanges are being promoted, exemplified by the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology's Guangzhou branch, which seeks to foster cross-border academic collaboration. South China Morning Post: China returned to winning ways at the Volleyball Nations League in Hong Kong with a commanding performance against Bulgaria, securing a 3-0 victory. This win was crucial for China to keep their Olympic qualifying hopes alive after their patchy results in Macau. Star player Zhu Ting, who was recovering from an injury, made a triumphant return, leading the team to take the first set 25-15. China's dominance continued as they clinched the next two sets 25-12 and 25-17. China, ranked 7th in the world, is striving to secure their place in the Paris Olympics, either by finishing as the top Asian team or being among the best 3 teams in the world rankings not already qualified. In other matches, the Dominican Republic snapped a 5-match losing streak by defeating Germany 3-1. The Dominican team, already qualified for Paris, showcased resilience and teamwork, with captain Navarca Marte expressing pride in their victory and emphasizing the need to build confidence as the tournament progresses. South China Morning Post: 6 individuals have been charged by Hong Kong's Independent Commission Against Corruption, ICAC, for allegedly engaging in a fraudulent scheme involving the free dumping of construction waste at a landfill site, which should have generated 830,000 Hong Kong dollars in fees. The accused, aged between 31 and 66, include 4 employees of Far East Landfill Technologies and 2 employees of TS Industrial Materials Recycle. The ICAC alleges that the group conspired to disguise construction waste as normal trash to avoid disposal fees at the Fanling landfill site. The truck driver involved was allegedly warned in advance about inspections, allowing the company to evade charges. Bribes, including cash, mooncakes, rice dumplings, and soft drinks, were allegedly offered to facilitate the scheme. The fraudulent activity resulted in the disposal of over 4,100 tons of construction waste without payment. The 6 accused face charges of conspiracy to defraud and bribery and are expected to appear in court. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.